Hey, good morning, peace and blessings, everybody. How you doing? It's your boy Chaz, and just dropping in this Thursday morning. Here we are. July is about to wrap up, and we're about to head into August. And it's been hot, y'all. It's been hot, not a lot of water, so it's one of them summers. These are the dog day summers, dog day afternoons, as they say. But I wanted to touch on my day this morning so far. It's 7 o'clock here in Pittsburgh. We're getting ready to get started. Do some work in the shop, and then I'll be heading off to work. But Black Lives Matter. Did you know that? Did you know that Black Lives Matter? Did you know that my life matters? Did you know that your life matters? So I like to start the day with a little reading, a little meditation, and I look at some of the things on the news going around, not just on CNN and Fox and those certainly aren't the only news networks. I mean, you've got to check out BBC News, Al Jazeera News, different news publications around the country. So I say it to say you can't simply just watch one source of news or read one source, because your view will be skewed in that direction only. So get some different sources of information throughout your day, and then I think it'll help you form a better picture of, the world as it should be. With that being said, Garette Foster, the young white man who died, who was shot and murdered a couple of weeks ago in Austin, Texas. I hadn't been following the story that close because there's so many things going on, but it finally caught up to it. And I posted, in case you didn't know, Garette Foster, I'll keep saying his name, young white man engaged to a black woman in Austin, Texas. She's a quadriplegic. So they were at a Black Lives Rally, peaceful protest march in Houston. They were out with the group. A car pulled up to the group, started trying to drive through, beeping a horn, whatever, being an asshole, basically. And Garette walked over. Garette had an AK-47 style rifle. Walked over. It's Texas is an open carry state. It's Texas, y'all. You can walk around with a bazooka if you want to in Texas. So he was within his rights and taking advantage of his rights. And he, prior to that, gave a statement saying, well, they don't want us marching in the streets anymore, so I'm going to carry my weapon. And they asked him, why are you carrying your weapon? Because it's my right to do so. That's the key word. It's my right to do so. So anyway, I don't know what happened with the exchange, but apparently witnesses say the driver of the car shot 5 times and shot Garette 3 times and then sped off and then called the police. So the police chief of that city of Austin was saying that Garette was looking for a fight because he walked out there with a weapon and dared people to say anything. Now, here's my whole point, and I'm going to keep it simple and straight to the point. So this man was well within his rights to carry his firearm. It's our right to maintain arms, to keep your weapons and walk around open carry with your weapons. We see this time and time again with white folks who show up at white events that are pro-white, that are good all-American things that white folks do when they complain. Just here in Pittsburgh, we saw a couple of weeks ago, everybody showed up downtown at the city county building, and I don't know, a group of 50 to 100 white protesters showed up because they wanted the county to open up, the city to open back up, because they couldn't get haircuts and they couldn't go to the bar and things like that. And these people showed up with all kind of weapons. They were armed to the teeth, protesting, doing their thing, and people cheered them. Hey, that's fine. But we don't see typically at Black Lives Matter rallies and marches, we don't typically see people with weapons. And as black folks, we don't generally march with weapons. That's starting to happen now with the group who's gathering at different places. The NFA coalition, Not Fucking Around coalition, has been showing up around the country in massive numbers. Brothers and sisters armed to the teeth, marching peacefully with their, showing and participating in their rights in America. My whole point about this is I just had to delete somebody I was in the Army with, nobody I'm really attached to that much, and that's fine. Young white man, and, it is what it is. He made a comment about, well, that idiot was pointing his rifle or something at the car, blah, 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 blah. And, of course, before I deleted him, I just had to go and reread the story, research him more, and here to find out, Garette Foster was doing nothing but simply taking advantage of his rights. He had his weapon with him at the protest, but it was a Black Lives Matter protest. And do you see what happens? See, I liken this to the idea of, I didn't know much about Malcolm X growing up because my parents didn't talk about it. I've got older parents who are both in their 90s. So for them, the civil rights movement, they were certainly within the struggle, but at a different age, more so church growing up type. They were just, they were content, I guess, with the status quo moving forward, even though it was painful at times. They weren't really, although they participated and they were certainly involved with things going on, they were of the mindset of, we'll take what we can get and keep on going forward. So I'll just leave it at that. But we didn't hear about Malcolm X in school. At least I didn't. And Malcolm X and the Black Panthers, those are two examples of black folks standing up for black folks and perpetuating the idea that we are just as equal, and better yet, we'll focus on our own problems. Don't worry about us. Just don't bother us and just don't hinder us. And what happened, of course, the government and folks around the country weren't having it. Here's these uppity Negroes up here doing their thing. We got to put them in their place. And yeah, people are like, oh, Malcolm X was a racist. No, Malcolm X wanted to focus on black folks and black folks' problems. He didn't believe at first that it involved white folks. And I don't agree with that because I know that it takes all people to solve a problem in humanity. He eventually changed his message, and then some other folks on the other side didn't like that, point blank. The Black Panthers, from day one, were only focused on helping people in the black community. Leave us alone. We don't need your help. We'll feed our own. We'll educate our own. We'll do our own thing. Oh, and by the way, we're showing up with our weapons too when we do our protests or when we go out and about because it's our right too. You see, when black folks try to take the same advantages, avail themselves of the same God-given rights in America, a lot of you all have a problem with that. And it becomes, oh, look what they're doing. So Garette Foster, he was a white guy showing up at a Black Lives Matter march. He was engaged to a black woman. Somebody didn't like that. A lot of y'all don't like that. There's a lot of you all out there who are still stuck in your caveman ways. And he was doing exactly what this American idea and the flag is supposed to represent. Your opportunity to be great in your own way and pursue your own happiness. And he was doing that by law. So we don't know what happened. No arrests have been made. The police chief was on record saying, he was looking for a fight, showing up with a gun. Well, why are you folks not ever saying that to these white folks out here protesting and marching with weapons, and the Klan that shows up here all the time and does their things, and they get police escorts, and, there's no question what the Klan stands for. There's no question. But they get the same protection and opportunity like most white people. They go out and do their thing with impunity, and, it's no big deal. So I just had to throw that out there. That's, I listen to some comic relief stuff. I told you I like to mix it up because you can't get too bogged down with one thing. But as far as I can tell, Garette Foster was just doing the American thing. He was protesting to something that did not agree with his principles. And he was taking advantage of his right to bear arms and pursue his own happiness and date and engage a black woman, which is certainly his God-given right. And some of y'all just can't get past the fact that love has no color, love has no bounds. You are in love with who you are in love with, and that should be the key over everything else. That people find each other, and they come together, and they pursue their own happiness. But some of you all don't like that because it doesn't look like the way you want it to look, and that's your fault. That's my message. That's your fault. So again, Black Lives Matter. I know it's titles, and it's looking just like I said. I've heard of people, some friends say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter." Why? I remember at one of my jobs, one of my supervisors was like, "Why y'all gotta have black BET, black television?" Well, because there are issues in the black community that some white folks just don't give a damn about, don't have the mindset to try to understand or even care about. So to y'all, I say, man, get out of our way. We're going to do our own thing. We're going forward. You should take the opportunity to learn about your brothers and your sisters. You should, more so than what you see on TV. We're here. Talk to us. You see us, But this is our country, too. And yes, we built this country. Don't forget that. It's a true, actual fact. But we reap the benefits at a lesser rate than everybody else in this country. and we're vilified more than everyone else in this country. And we are playing behind the 8 ball, trying to catch up. There's countless examples of all of what I just said for you to read and see across the internet, and in newspaper, and in print, and in magazines, and in people's minds, and in stories, and opportunities. So there's a lot of ignorant folks in the world, but I'm grateful for you wonderful people who have an open mind and are intelligent enough to see through the clouds and support your brothers and sisters on all issues. So I just had to throw that out there today. Brother Garrett, he was doing the right thing as far as I could tell. And then somebody took the chance to make themselves feel good and try to post something negative about him on my page, which I deleted, and I'm not even going to get into it. That person is off my list. I ain't got no need for them no more. It just shows me that you were more interested in finding something and besmirching his name to make yourself feel good or to prove some point, instead of researching more and finding the facts. Now, if that's what you got out of your fact finding, okay, well, we have two different stories. But here's the fact. This man showed up legally to take advantage of his rights, to bear arms, to protest in America. That's what we're all about. This country was founded on a protest. And because it was for black folks and black rights and black lives, that didn't work well for you. You know. So just like George Floyd, I'm seeing they talking about he had all kind of drugs in the system. That's such an old story. It's so sad. It's always the excuse. Well, this person was on drugs and he was doing this and he was behind the child support and blah, 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 and she shouldn't have talked back. Y'all got all kind of reasons for black folks losing their lives and people who support black folks. But don't say shit about the evil white folks that are out here perpetuating these crimes against humanity and your fellow citizen. Don't say nothing about it. And that's okay. And therein lies the whole problem. Equality, folks. Equality and equity. We still fighting for it. I'm going to still keep talking about it. That's all I got, man. Something to think about. Peace and blessings.